Oh man. Wait, the Chinese think American eats babies? Yeah. New York Times reporting on classified U.S. intelligence assessments of Iranian missile capacity reiterates that they've maintained 70% of their missiles and launchers, but adds that 90% of their underground storage and launch facilities are also still active. Once again, PBS for Tomorrow's News Today, Piker Broadcasting Service. This is why they pay me the big bucks, $6 at a time. But I think y'all know we've been reporting on this. We've been making this assessment without the CIA for basically the last 2 months. Oh my God. How could this have happened? Iran has designed its missile program with the acknowledgement of not being able to protect its airspace and relied on hardened underground missile cities to compensate. U.S. and Israeli attacks apparently disabled the entrances of some of these facilities and hit surface buildings. Dude, literally, this is how you have a competitive edge. This is how you have a competitive edge in these conversations with those who you talk to. I've been telling you this for months. Okay? I've been telling you this for months. Okay? U.S. and Israeli attacks apparently disabled the entrances of some of these facilities and hit surface buildings, but as many observed at the time, the attacks were failing to actually penetrate the underground facilities where the operations were carried out and missiles were kept in storage. Most problematically, for a renewed campaign, the missile complexes near Hormuz are almost all still active according to the assessment. If the U.S. initial assessment is accurate, it also explains why Iran was able to maintain a steady rate of missile fire until the end of the war. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that. Who could have foreseen this? Who could have looked at the Iranian missile strikes that kept up in spite of the American and Israeli bombing campaigns? I think they really believe that temporarily suppressing Iranian missile fires, caving in tunnel entrances, and whacking cheap missile launchers would be enough because Iran would fold after a few days. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Because they're fucking stupid. Wait, Trump was lying? We already knew that Trump was lying. That's elementary. That's like a novice take, okay? Yes, of course Trump was lying. That's all he does. And it's not even necessarily a lie, I guess. He's just stupid, okay? He doesn't know shit. I don't even know if he knows what he's saying. What Trump is saying is irrelevant. It's immaterial. What's important is whether or not Iran was able to keep up a steady pace of attacks. Okay? That's how you can make that assessment. I told you what their strike capabilities look like, what the Iranian strike capabilities look like. This is important to understand how I was conducting this analysis. Okay? Because you can do this as well. You can do this on your own. It's not like I have the capacity to see what was going on in the ground. We had very limited knowledge, right? But what you can do in this situation, when you're monitoring the situation, is through open source intelligence, look at what the Iranian TLs look like, how easy they are to fabricate, how easy they are to repair, and how cost effective it is for Iran to sometimes even deploy single launchers off the backs of pickup trucks and then release them and wait for some return fire from American Air Force or the Israeli Air Force. And if they don't actually get struck in 15 minutes, they just go back into those K trucks and bring them back inside into their cave systems. And I told you over and over again that they had no capacity, even with bunker busters, to truly penetrate these facilities. And therefore, all they could do is basically close up the mouths of these caves. But lo and behold, what was on the inside of those caves, inside of these complex tunnel systems? Bulldozers that they could use to dig themselves out of those tunnel systems. And I told you over and over again that they were not capable of actually hitting the silos, okay? Because the most powerful thing to stop missiles still to this day is dirt, okay? It's earth. That's it. And they use their topography to their advantage. That's why they built those cave systems and those tunnels and those underground missile silos inside of these fucking mountains, okay? Raw earth and dirt. That's what stops missiles better than anything else. The U.S. intelligence assessment is accurate. It also explains why Iran was able to maintain a steady rate of missile fire until the end of the war, and also suggested U.S. and Israel simply wasted a lot of top-tier standoff munitions that were that were created and stockpiled specifically for peer and near peer adversaries, not a fucking middle power, not for Iran, but for Russia and for China. That's what the fucking craziest part about this is, that they expended their munitions that they had for some kind of future conflict with Russia or China. And the only reason why they did that is because the Iranian anti-air defense systems were more competent than they previously thought. This is another very important aspect of this that I don't see too much in the analysis. If this is correct, it would also explain why there was a sharp pivot towards counter-value attacks against Iranian civilian targets like universities, bridges, and power stations in the last days of the campaign, even though missile fire had not been suppressed. It may have just been impossible with the resources and conditions at hand, which necessitated Trump's threat to destroy Iranian civilization, which ultimately came right before the ceasefire. That's exactly what happened. That's also exactly what I said. I told you the reason why they're moving to civilian targets, if you remember my analysis from back then, I told you very clearly, okay, that the reason why they're moving to civilian targets is because they cannot achieve their military objectives by striking missile silos. If you recall, that's why I told you. They were like, fuck it, we ball. We can't actually successfully attrit their strike capabilities. So we're moving to apply pressure by doing, a little bit of ethnic cleansing, a little bit of genocide, just a little baby bit, by doing some war crimes, doing some terrorism. We destroyed their nuclear program, says Nathan J. Robinson. Okay, fine. We didn't destroy it, but we eliminated the regime. Okay, fine. We didn't eliminate it, but we destroyed all their missile launchers. Okay, fine. We didn't do that either. But hey, we did waste $30 billion and kill dozens of schoolgirls. Yeah, in your analysis, you're forgetting about the fact that a bunch of the targets Trump blew up were actually just inflatable heated dummies from China. Helium is one of the valuable resources restricted by the Strait. Those inflatables are super high value. Okay, that's funny. But yeah, for those of you who are just now tuning in, when you're like, oh, Hasan, you have a lot of fucking haters. Like, if you get your information from, drama slop tubers on the internet, you're not going to have a decent understanding of what the fuck's going on in the world. Okay? There's a reason why I interview actual analysts, college professors, and the like, rather than get my fucking notes from drama slop tubers. Okay? Those people don't have a decent understanding of the world at all. They don't know what the fuck's going on in front of them. So stop relying on dumb fuck drama tubers who take every important issue that's happening around the world and turn it into Hasan bad somehow. Okay?